So I sang the borderline, me Dave the husband, and the paralytic drunk on me advance. And he lay back, take in your slack, take a turn around the caps and heave a pole, Oh, about ship stations, boys, be handy.
I've always looked on the schooners as a replacement for national service, in a way. I mean, when you look upon national service, although the underlying difficulties, it did give people went away for 2 years, and it gave them a tremendous insight into other people's ways of life, much wider outlook on life. I think everybody would agree with that. Now, when we get the youngsters here, they do very much the same sort of thing. They come away only for a fortnight, but they meet up with boys from a completely different background. They're able to appreciate them, realize that they have problems just the same as themselves, but in their own walk of life. And they work together, go off ashore together, come back together as a crew of a ship. And when they go away, they have, in some magic moment, grown up. Some people call it a sea change. It happened to me when I went to sea. When I came back after my first trip, I was a different person. And I think this happens to the lads. You can do it in a fortnight, strange as it may seem. And they, if only one thing I can say we can teach them, we can certainly teach them respect. They respect the sea because it's bigger than they are. They're basically frightened. Now this is the start of discipline, because they're going to do exactly as you tell them to do. They want to survive. And so they come along on the ship for a fortnight, completely out of their normal environment, and they do exactly as they're told. They work together, they work hard, they don't ask any questions, and before you know where you are, you've got a lad who's been taught respect. He respects the sea, as I said before, he respects the ship, and eventually he respects you. And he becomes proud of his ship, he becomes proud of what he's doing. He works with a will. He goes out and does things which perhaps a fortnight before he would have queried. He does it because he knows if he doesn't do it, someone else will have to do it, or at least his pals did it last night, so he's going to have to do it tonight. Quite a different attitude to the possibly what we find ashore nowadays, and it makes them, they grow up. They come away from the ship and they're young men. They've gone away as boys, come back as young men.
Well, life looks a little bit different, 60 foot up, I'm afraid. Very calm day, fortunately. How are you doing down there, lads?
It's slipping in.
It's slipping in, is it? Right. I can't hear you very well, but you're still way over, aren't you?
Stephen! Now,
No, the two lads are just pulling the sail up now.
gently. It is no good snatching it. Nice, gentle, concerted heave.
When you're ready.
Okay. You seem to be managing all right now. Is it very difficult?
It is really, yes, it is. Very difficult.
It's a long way up. Doesn't it worry you being up here?
No, not at all.
You're not looking around you, I suppose. You're not too worried. Why aren't you worried then? Pardon?
Haven't really had time yet.
Well, you look a bit precarious from where I am, because you're the first one to fall if anybody does. I'm sure you won't though.
Well, I can see the water down there, so I don't mind too much.
I see you're hooked on all right.
Yes, well, it's a regulation, just to make sure that we can't fall too far.
This is the first day. Do you really feel that you're succeeding? You know, you're doing what you set out to do?
Well, I'm enjoying it, but
Okay, thank you. Somebody calling me down for dinner, so I'll have to go down the mast again. Doesn't it make you feel as though you were one of the old tea clippers, you know, when you look down and think about it?
Well, not really. If you look from a distance, it may look like it, but I don't think so. Not really.
You're quite a brave chap, aren't you? Are you as brave as he is? I mean,
I'm trying not to think about it.
does it make you feel as though you've joined one of the old sailing ships, you know, and you're setting off for the Indies or somewhere?
It certainly did going into the marina this afternoon. Yes, I feel very privileged to be able to come on the cruise.
Well,
And,
we all are, aren't we?
Yes, and I'm just enjoying it.
Everybody does everything they're told. That's what I like about it.
Well, if they didn't, we wouldn't get anywhere.
Including me. Apparently I've got to go down and have my dinner now. Thanks a lot, lads.
Okay.
And there's nobody I hate more than the fellow that comes along and says, "Oh, I do hope we have a gale," you know. But it really, that is basically the answer, is to have a gale straight away. Get straight out into a storm in the first 24 hours. It really knocks the stuffing out of them. It brings them all standing. You get all the clever devils, a complete change of attitude. And it gives the little fellas who thought they were going to be seasick and weren't, feeling that they're 10 feet tall and that they managed to survive. So that's a good thing, if you can do that. Now, at the moment, we haven't got it, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But we might get a bit stronger wind, and the ship will start to bob about a bit, and then you'll find you'll have a queue of people on the lee rail all bringing up what they've just eaten. And this tends to level them out a bit too, you know. It's not only boys, of course, we have girls' crews as well. We run about 5 girls' cruises during the year. And it's a funny thing, people often ask me, what's the difference between girls' cruises and boys' cruises? And well, the only answer to that is if they don't know by now, it's time that they, got sorted out. But they, in actual fact, when they've all got their oilskins on and they're all being seasick, there's very little difference between the two. But it varies considerably. You can get a girls' crew, and this is no lie, who can put the sails up. It's not as well as, if not better than, certainly as well as the boys. They're just as strong. I don't know what it is, whether they have this ability, but we've had some very big girls on these ships, and they can certainly pull the sails up just as well as the lads can.
Start off, Lofty. Face up. No, come here. Face up. And work forward. Scrubbing all the planks as you go. All the way across. Okay, the reason being, we get more muck in the waist than anywhere.
Well, why do they really have to do it, George?
But to get the decks really clean. And, if you leave the muck in here, it'll get ingrained in this teak. And it looks like nothing on earth after a while. And I didn't even notice it this morning. There was a lot of coal dust being walked into it.
It's not just a matter of getting them to do it because it's tradition.
No, it's to keep it clean. There's no, tradition really.
They don't seem to mind. Keeps them warm too, doesn't it?
Just first thing in the morning. That's if you can get them to work then. Right, how far you got?
That's one of the most important people on board the ship is Mike Stevenson, who's from Northampton. He's just retired from the police. And you're the man who dishes out the nutty, Mike.
That's it, yes, nutty and cokes and
Is it very
cards.
important, do you think, really?
I think it's all very important that the boys have these little perks every day, especially the chocolate that they can eat during the night, in the early hours of the morning when the death watch is on. I think it's handy to have these sort of extras that they can buy with their own money.
What have they ordered here today? I mean, what sort of goodies have we got in the box?
Well, we've got Cokes, Mars bars, Crunches, and of course the all-important postcards so that they can let Mum know how they're getting on.
Well, we better start dishing it out then, shall we?
Right, have we got main watch here then? Yeah. Main watch 1. Right, you can come round the back, lads.
What
I'll
have you
dish it out
ordered?
in the usual way.
What have you ordered?
Mars and a crunchy.
And
How long will it take to eat that? I mean, you've had a good meal today, haven't you?
Number
Several.
2, are you with us?
A couple.
A Coke.
What are you going to do? When will you eat it? I
And
mean,
the
will you
crunchy.
scoff it straight
Number
away,
3.
or will you save it?
Well,
Number 3,
eat it over
a
time.
Crunchy
That's your crunchy.
and a Mars bar. Number 4,
What are you going to do with that lot? 2 Mars and a ginger ale?
Coke.
Drink it over tonight. We've been on watch. Don't you feel that you've probably had enough to eat today already? I mean, I think I have.
No, get very hungry.
You order some more tomorrow?
Expect so, yes.
Okay then.
What have you got there?
Just a can of Coke.
A ginger
Couple of
ale.
Crunchies
Thank
and
you
a
very
Mars.
much. Number 11.
How long will it take you to see those off today? You're going to do it straight away?
No,
Rush
I won't do
away?
it straight away.
Where's
no.
11?
Get some work done first. See what I've got to do first.
Oh, you what?
Would you normally eat those at home?
Yeah,
Well, do you know where his
I
pit
eat
is?
quite a lot of sweet stuff actually.
What's your job
Get
at
on his
home?
pit, will you?
Well, I just lost my job. Well, I didn't lose my job. I gave my job in just before I come on this trip.
Okay,
I was doing factory work and
couldn't stick it no more. No.
You'll be really unsettled now, won't you, after you've been on this trip?
Well, yeah. To make a big decision when I get back. Yeah, if I like this, I'd seriously think of joining the merchant navy, if I can.
Yeah, we just finished happy hour now, and we're having our daily inspection. Now,
Happy hour means exactly what?
Well, it's happiness. It means that everybody has to do something. For 1 hour, we make everybody clean something on the ship, and I know that I can go around and the ship's been clean, I can inspect it, and I can at any one time then in the day say that the ship is clean. We can go, it's been bottomed, in other words, you know.
I'll follow you around and see what happens.
All right, well, we'll carry on. Here, we've got the storeroom, you see. And what we do is just have a look and see what the state of the dry stores are and the deep freeze. It's a bit awkward when she's heeled over like this, isn't it? All right, well, next time I come round, just see if you can't straighten that lot out, okay? So it looks as if it's ready for inspection. Okay. Now there, dear. Yeah. Good. You see over there? Now those bulkheads should shine, because this is where everybody comes to be entertained, and they look around the ship. This is the first place they see, right? Yeah. This is our showpiece. Now these bulkheads will actually shine back at you. Now that's just like a polishing. Yeah. Elbow grease. Like Grandma's Lysol. The secret's in the scrubbing. Okay? Yeah, so. That barometer's off the old Garth pool. That was the last British sailing ship.
That's pretty nice.
She was taken off her when she was wrecked in 1929 off the Cape Verde Islands, you can see. This is the place where we look for unmade bunks.
The watch officer's
cabin, yeah. Always like to go and tell them they haven't made their bunks, but they've made them all today. Yeah. Not a bad place, this really, is it?
They must have known you were coming, I think.
They must have known, yes. The word got round. There's one spot where I can usually find some rubbish being left behind. You see, underneath there.
Underneath the duckboards in the shower?
It, yeah, underneath that pipe. That had
the
been
drain
cleaned
pipe.
out. Oh,
No?
Who's in here?
Well, some of the main one.
Was he? Well, get hold of him and tell him that there's some gubbins down there. See them? There's hair, which obviously isn't mine, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces in that scupper, underneath that pipe. Okay, and make sure it's clear, because otherwise it gets blocked up.
Right.
Well, this is a rather unusual situation because we're at night, there's a lot of fog about, we're under sail, and there are ships all around us, so we've got to be very, very careful indeed that we don't run into anything, and they've got to be careful they don't run into us. Well, it's now just coming up to midnight, and we're going to call the middle watchman, and we'll see how they feel about being wakened up at this time of the night.
Time to get up for your watch. Okay, cheers.
How do you feel about being wakened up?
Not too bad. Been awake for quite a while, actually.
Were you nicely asleep earlier?
Pardon?
Did you get to sleep earlier?
Yeah. When we first went to bed.
How about you? Have you got to get up?
It doesn't bother me getting up at 12 o'clock at night. It's just that the foghorn was annoying because your sleep was broken. I mean, 4 hours sleep I think is quite adequate as long as you can catch up a little later. But we weren't able to get 4 hours because we had the foghorn.
Have you changed your mind yet about being here? Would you sooner be at home?
I don't think so. No, I'd be getting up at 6:30 at home, so.
Okay, yeah. How do you feel about being wakened up at 12 o'clock at night?
I've been asleep.
You're going to feel pretty rough, aren't you?
I am, aren't I? Yeah. It was them Orleans that did it. I was getting nicely off then.
You'd sooner be at home, wouldn't you?
No, not yet. I wouldn't say that yet. I might do in a week.
She's sailing again, so you've got something to look forward to. Do you sooner stay in bed or go out on the deck?
I think I'd rather go out on deck now. But
You don't sound very convincing.
don't I? Why not? Well, it's not a very convincing time of the morning, is it?
How do you feel right now, getting up?
Terrible.
Was it nice in bed? Were you asleep?
Made no difference. Only a couple of hours.
It's just beginning to sail now, you know, the waves are beginning to hit the side of the boat. Are you looking forward to going out?
No.
Pardon?
No.
If you'd like to go back to bed, I could probably fix it for you.
Please do.
Well, up here on the deck, of course, the watch officer has also had to be wakened up. Roger Strawn, who's normally an accountant at Hull. How's it going tonight? We've got a bit of wind, haven't we?
Well, I have. As a matter of fact, having just come on deck, we've just had a slight course change of holding all the sails. A little bit of movement around, everybody changing around and getting cracking. The watch leaders did well in getting straight into it, and I was very pleased.
I can imagine the great joy. You're anxious, aren't you? Have a look at your compass, if you like.
Yeah.
I can imagine a sort of great joy of being on the early morning watch, watching the sun come up, and then feeling really satisfied.
Yes, I think the most exciting watch is the 4 to 8 in the morning. The whole world is waking up, and the sun's coming up, and the stars are going. You just feel good. That's what I think about it, anyway. Some people don't, but I do. And you're ahead of everybody that day.
Enjoy your breakfast too.
Yes, indeed.
Probably the most important part of the ship, this, the galley. It's really tough for you, isn't it, eh?
Oh, it's disgusting.
You're doing a good job there, aren't you?
Yeah, well, there's, the food is very important. They've good food, lots of it, when they can eat it and not being seasick.
Many sick this morning, do you know?
No, we've only had 3 so far this voyage, which is quite good, but then again the weather's not been very rough at all.
Because you've been before, haven't you?
Yeah, I came 2 years ago as a trainee on the Malcolm Miller, and I've worked during the refit on the Winston Churchill. It was my first time as cook's assistant.
Sounds as though you're pretty keen, really, aren't you?
I don't know if it's keen or foolhardy, but I'm back, so...
What about the cookery department? I mean, it's not all that exciting, is it? It's not such a nice job, really.
There's not the adventure in it compared with actually sailing the ship, but you're kept on your feet, and it's a fairly hectic job. You're putting about 55 people in here every day, 3 meals a day, in a very confined space, in pretty awful conditions sometimes, with gales and things slopping around all over the place. But we invariably manage to serve something decent up, even if people can't eat it.
Been good up to now, anyway. Thanks. I'm going to have a talk to the lads who are
doing the work.
Away, doing the work. Yeah. Anybody here wishes they hadn't joined? I mean, here we are with all this washing up to do. You don't do this at home, do you?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
What do you think of it so far, really, the cruise?
Nah, it's alright. It's pity I couldn't get a bit of sleep, right? A bit tired. That's the only thing I got.
Have you felt a little bit sick, or have you been alright?
No, I've been alright. Usually I would carry on the sea.
What do you normally do for a living?
I'm a fitter.
So washing up is not really your cup of tea, then?
No.
Have you broken any plates?
No.
The heavy pan department over here. How are you enjoying it?
Well, not so bad. I was good about 5 minutes ago, but that's part of the cruise, I suppose.
You did what?
5 minutes ago to go to the side for a quick mouthful.
Oh, you were sick, were you?
Yeah, just looking at these mushrooms which I can't stand, you know.
I see. You look as though you're smiling anyway.
Well, you've got to, I suppose.
Do you think it's worth it? I mean, coming on, paying money to wash up.
Well, you're not washing them every day, but one day at the point's not so it's worth washing up, I suppose, because on the other 13 is different activities to do.
I suppose the thing is that it's fair and everybody gets a share.
Yeah, precisely. You all get a muck in sort of thing, and do what you tell. Do various jobs, nice ones and not so nice ones.
Do they shout at you if you don't wash up quick enough?
You may, well, we work in here from 9 o'clock one morning to 9 o'clock the following morning. We always try to knock off, say, about 8 o'clock in the evening. But if you're too slow, maybe about 9 o'clock in the evening, or maybe 10.
At least you don't get waking up in the night, do you?
Oh no, we sleep until 6, which is quite nice.
Sleep until 6. What time do you get up at home?
About 8.
Well, it's blowing very well now. I should think it's something over 4-6, and everybody seems to be falling all over the place. You're jammed in there. How do you feel?
Pretty awful at the moment.
Been sick?
Yeah, many a time. Quite a bit. Been on the rail there for about 5 minutes continuously, you know. It's really bad.
But I mean, there's still a bit of adventure here for you, isn't there? You know,
oh yeah, it's pretty left,
you
know. Oh, it's a bit of an adventure all this, just trying to cope with it. Be glad I can get over it, be very pleased.
What do you normally do for a job?
I work in a bank, so it's a complete contrast, you know. But yes, it's a complete adventure for me.
I'm glad you came.
I don't know, end of this week anyway. Probably will be, yeah. Hope to be anyway.
At the moment, you're not so sure?
Not so sure at the moment, no.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are you doing here?
I don't really know, I'm lost at the moment.
You're lost. Well, you're on the Winston Churchill. Now go and find your watch leader. Away you go.
Is that one of
He'll tell you where he is. Where you are. Right, pay attention. You are my lads today, okay? You take orders from me, the boatswain's mate, Mr. Groom and the captain, of course. From time to time you might be pulled in to hoist some sails. That's fair enough. But the rest of the time you'll work under me. You go to dinner at 20 to 1 and turn to again at 1:30. I normally knock you off about 5 o'clock, which I should let you go until 1:30 in actual fact. And tomorrow morning you will be up at 6 o'clock and you'll scrub decks tomorrow morning at 6:30. And you'll go to breakfast at... And Mr. Cook, bring it up! You'll go to breakfast at 7:20 and turn to again at 8 until 9, and then I say goodbye to you. Okay? But I'll get you again later on in the cruise. Some of the jobs you'll get will be nice ones, others might be bloody boring. But what jobs you get, please lads, do it nice. Nice shan't get on to you, Mr. Groom won't get on to you, and the boatswain's mate won't get on to you. Okay?
What's it like working then for the boatswain?
Hard.
Hard? What have you been doing exactly?
Well, at the moment we're just scraping the paint off the sides here, which has gone rusty.
You've been doing that for about a day now, haven't you?
Well, we're doing it mostly yesterday afternoon, and we broke off, and we're just starting now for the last hour, while we're still under the boatswain's care.
What time were you up this morning?
Something after 4 o'clock when we weighed anchor.
Do you find it very difficult to wake up and turn to, as it were?
Not really, because the only thing I'm finding difficult is getting to sleep. I'm awake already.
What would you normally be doing if you weren't here on this trip? I mean, what's your job?
I'm a computer operator.
So this is really very much different, isn't it?
It is different to my job, yes.
Is it turning out the way you thought it would? Is it as good or worse or what?
It's not as hard as I thought it was, not at the moment anyway. But the sailing is beautiful, it's just what I came for.
And what about all the seasickness that's going on around you? Have you been affected?
I haven't, no, not yet anyway. I'm keeping out the way of the people who are.
I know they work hard, the lads, but they also have their fun as well, and that's usually in the 2 hours that they get during the 24 hours to enjoy themselves. What goes on down there? What sort of things happens down below in the mess?
Sleeping mostly in the time off, because that's the only chance you can get.
You've got a hammock, I believe.
It's correct, yeah. That makes for a bit of fun as well. I'm up after the night getting back into it.
Have you found that people come up and give you a punch?
Well, there's some playful fellows among them, yeah, I must admit. I'd say it's all fun. Yeah, this fellow here, he's felt my wrath, I think. He's giving me a little nudge.
What about the food? How are you getting on with that?
It's good, the food, I reckon it's good.
Are you managing to keep it down?
Yeah.
The more you eat,
the more you keep down.
42 lunches yesterday, and only 8 people ate them.
Well, I had 3 of them.
What was it? I can't remember.
Spaghetti bolognese. Spaghetti bolognese with large mushrooms. Great.
What did you think this morning when you woke up? What time were you up, by the way?
We were up at 12 o'clock to do a watch, then we went to bed, and we got woken up by some nice person at 6:30. We're not supposed to be up till 9.
Oh, so, I see. So you shouldn't have been woken up.
No, so we're not pleased.
A lot of that must go on because they don't know who's who.
Well, they do, but I reckon they do it just to spite us sometimes. They're jealous, you see.
Quite a bit of noise and hot air coming from down there when you all get down there, I hear sometimes. A few swear words occasionally.
Oh, yeah, well, we're slagging down the watch leaders, you see. Because they want us to do all the work. They never do any, so we've got to train them well. Because I haven't learnt yet.
Is it worth it, do you think? I mean, here you are, out on the high seas, you could be at home, putting your feet up, going to the cinema, doing anything you like, really.
Oh, it's an experience, isn't it? You know, it's the sort of thing you've got to do, really, when you look at it. I'm enjoying myself at the moment. I haven't been sick yet.
How do you like being shouted at? I mean, a big chap like you getting ordered around, it's not on, is it?
You get used to it, don't you? And then you've got to... Because I usually, me who does the shouting, was working in the youth club, so
you're being pushed around?
on the other foot, yeah.
The lads seem to have changed since I've seen them 2 weeks ago. Do you think it really does them a lot of good?
Well, you've seen us put the sails up this morning, and we're going up here now. They're running around. Go and ask them for yourself. You'll see the difference.
Just before I do that, though, we've got the engine on. I mean, they might think we're cheating when they listen.
Well, as a charity, we're dependent on a lot of help from people who come along during lunch hour to tie the ship up, meet the ship in, and so on and so forth. Now, I've said I'm going to be there for 2 o'clock. Now, I've got to be there for 2 o'clock. People have other business to do this afternoon. They don't want to be waiting for me until 3 o'clock. The wind's against us, or very fine on the bow, and I'm going flat out now with the engines to make that ETA.
I'll take your invitation up and go and talk to them.
Okay, then, right, you are. Fine.
Thank you.
I think it's yeah, I think it's much better than when we started. You feel more of a team. You when you arrived, you knew nothing about it, and you were given a bit of paper, some polish and stuff, and told to clean the brass. But now,
you feel like an old sweat now, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, looking back on it, I guess it hasn't really been all that tough.
You thought it was though at the beginning, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And there are times when I have thought it was, but no, looking back on it as a whole, it's been quite cushy.
Would you come again?
I don't think so. No.
Which was the best part then?
The last week, from the first port on, and after that was the best time, because we knew what to expect. The bad part was at the beginning when we didn't really know what was happening.
But you've had enough, really?
Oh, I've had enough now. I want to go home. Yeah.
What's been the best part for you?
I think sort of teamwork is sort of what we're all pulling together.
You really enjoyed that, have you?
Yes, that's been about the best bit, I think.
Has it made you want to go to sea, to be a sailor, in fact?
I don't think so. No, I'm not so much that way inclined.
What's your job anyway?
I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer.
Would you come again if they asked you?
I think so.
Of course you paid for yourself, didn't you? How much?
Yes. Well, the basic price of it was £160. But there's a lot of little bits and bobs that sort of come onto that as well.
Was it worth it, do you think?
I think so. Basically.
You've been...
But it's a lot of money. So it's not earning a lot at the moment, and so forth. It's hard to save up for.
I've enjoyed it up to a point, yeah, but I wouldn't come again.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. It's not my idea of an holiday. I always dream of being at the side of a sea in a deck chair, and that's what I understood this course was when I first got to know about it.
You were fooled, weren't you?
Yeah, just a bit.
I've seen these lads change over the last 2 weeks. I'm a watch leader, and the boys in my watch have certainly changed, the relationships between them. I think they've all benefited. They've learned to work as a team, they've learned to enjoy themselves together, had some good laughs, and I think they've all had a good time. Although some may not want to come back, they'll certainly miss something when they do leave. On that train, they'll realise that the comradeship they'll miss.
Was on the quarter-decker first I saw 'em. 'Twas an ugly bunch I'd never seen before. There was a bum and stiff from every quarter. And it made me poor old heart feel sick and sore. Paddy lay back, dig in your slack, take a turn around the caps and heave a fall, heave a fall. Oh, bout ship station, boys, be handy. We're bound for Valparaiso around the Horn. There were Spaniards and Dutchmen and Russians, and Johnny Crap was just across from France. And most of them couldn't speak a word of English, but answer to the name of Months Advance. Paddy lay back, dig in your slack, take a turn around the caps and heave a fall, heave a fall. Bout ship stations, boys, be handy, for we bound for Valparaiso around